Hey guys, J77 here doing another What's News, and I'm just gonna go right straight to it because there's a lot of stories I want to talk about. Some stories that has are pretty much dated but still relevant to what's going on. Some stories that has gotten recent developments, and some stories that I had followed and will continue to follow because I'm kind of curious if there's any changes that's going to happen, especially when you have Elizabeth Warren, who's in charge of overseeing the agencies as opposed to make sure that the high corporations and banks keep in check. So some of these are some of the many stories that I am going to be following and also going to be talking about throughout this video. But let's get started with some local news here in New York, because this is a very, very sad story. A story that which to this right now as we speak is got a lot of people asking a lot of questions. People still can't believe that this person, a 17-year-old, have done this to another child, a 9-year-old child. But with all the news that I have read on this story, this is something very, very deep, and it goes to show that crime knows no age limit, especially in this situation. A Bronx teenager whose name is Kasmine Aska, he's 17 years old, have is accused of throwing a 9-year-old neighbor off the roof of their 5-story apartment. He told the cops it was an accident, but he offered at least 3 different versions to what happened. Um, the first version of the story was said that he told the police that little Freddie Martin, that's the victim's name, was walking along the edge of the roof and fell. Law enforcement sources told the Post after more questioning, he said the younger brother and Freddie were play fighting, and Freddie fell. And then another version he gave um, pretty much contradicted the other 2 that he recently gave. He said, I grabbed Freddie around the leg. His feet was off the ground. I turned around, I slipped, and Freddie fell. This is what he told the police according to the criminal complaint. There is so much to be said about this, and if you click on the link, you'll see the picture of the victim, all smiles, and you clicked on, and you also see right next to him is the person accused of flinging him off the roof, and you see his expression. This is a recent photo, by the way. You see his expression, and it doesn't seem like a person who is in any remorse, who is distraught, who is devastated. It seems like he's like, I can't believe I got caught kind of expression. It's a very, very uncomfortable expression he has. Um, Freddie told police a more sinister story about his older neighbor as he was rushed to the hospital on Friday night. Um, the assistant Bronx district attorney have said in court yesterday, and what I mean by that is he was still conscious when they found him. The paramedics have brought him in. He managed to speak to the paramedics, gave the name of the person who did this to him before slipping into a coma. Um, the good news is that he's out of that coma. The bad news is that he still has a long way to go, and even as I speak, the doctors are not giving him much chance of survival due to the fact that he has suffered serious injuries. He had to have 4 blood transfusions to deal with internal bleeding. He had bone punctures um, that actually went through his skin, and he had a internal bleeding which the doctors could not find. And this is something that is just heartbroken when you hear this stuff. Um, the person who has have done this is still in prison. He's still in custody without bail. They refuse to give him any bail hearing. His defense attorney have pretty much states that it was an accident. This was a horrible accident, and that everything will be cleared out in court. But there's a whole lot of questions here, and so I'm just going to get right straight to it. What the hell were you doing on the roof to begin with? Why were you there to play? Even if this was an accident and you was playing there, what the hell were you doing on the roof, and how did they gain access to the roof? I'm not buying that this was an accident. I think there's something more to the story, and the only time will tell when the whole truth will come out. The fact that he has told three different stories tells me that tell me right there that he's hiding something. It also tells me that he really should have let his lawyers do the talking and just shut the hell up. But in any case, no matter what you see about this, this is just a bad. Uh, this is just a horrible situation, and again, with me along with a lot of other New Yorkers, our prayers go out to the family as well as the victim. There are people who are downing the story, especially those who are living in the apartment building, because some of the neighbors have said that Philip Rivera also said that he didn't hear any noise, he didn't hear any screaming. If they heard this, they would immediately rushed out to find out what the hell's going on. This is the problem with that kind of statement, is that if the boy knew the person, had talked to him, had played with him, there should be no reason why he should be panicking. There should be no reason why he should scream and yell for help, because he knew the person. So that logic is out the door. I mean, he didn't, and that's the thing people need to keep in mind, that yeah, he probably would have screamed if this was a total stranger dragging him out the apartment, but this wasn't. This was a person that obviously they know who he was. He gave the police the name and description before slipping into a coma. So that is something that I want people to be mindful of. That yeah, he probably would have heard the screaming, probably would have gone out there, but it's a whole different story for someone who don't know than to someone who do know. So, in other words, he may not be screaming, especially if he don't think his life is in jeopardy. That's just my take on that. I'll leave a link below. You guys can read it. You guys can bring your own feedback on this matter. But yeah, this is a tough one. Dealing with another story here, a story that's pretty much has been reported about a few weeks ago, but I decided to talk about it anyway because I never had a chance to do it the last time. And this is involving a story which I have been keeping my eye on for quite some time, but I haven't reported because there was really nothing new. Now there's something new coming out. Now there is some reason to talk about it, and it has to do with George Zimmerman and the Trayvon Martin trial. As you guys know by now, or don't know, and just finding out, there has been a scheduled date for the trial to begin, June 10th. This comes after George Zimmerman was trying to delay his June trial date for another 6 to 8 months. The judge denied this claim, saying, "I don't see any of your issues as insurmountable," and basically said we're going ahead as planned. The argument that his lawyer was trying to say is that they wanted to be better prepared for this trial, also raise more funds for his legal fees. But the judge pretty much shot that down, basically saying that he still has time before and during the trial to properly prepare himself. Zimmerman faced a trial that if he loses, could face 25 years to life if convicted of second-degree murder. This case, as you all know, had a very, very serious racial tension in that state of Florida, which sparked protests all across the globe, and that was due to the fact that this was a man who thought he was the police officer, took it upon himself to follow Trayvon Martin, up to the point where it led to a altercation, which led to him shooting Trayvon Martin. It also led to Florida's very controversial Stand Your Ground law, which has been nicknamed Shoot First. A law which many people deem as a one-sided law because it gives people a false sense of security and a false detection due to the fact is that since they got a gun, if they have an argument with someone, instead of using your head, they just use the gun. There's been a lot of examples of this. A lot of states have passed these laws, and as a result, we're seeing a lot more of these related deaths, and also the stand your ground cases, where a lot of them is also more harder to prove. This was backed by the NRA, by the way, which to me I'm not all surprised. In fact, I would have been shocked if they didn't back this up. But in any case, this sparked a lot of situations with gun control, gun laws that's being passed or have been passed in all over the country. And also bring us a question of just how one side our justice system is, because a lot of people felt that the police didn't do their job because the simple fact is that they felt that they are nothing more, that blacks are nothing more than second-class citizens. A perfect example is a woman who is, I believe, is now fighting appeal after getting sentenced to 25 years in prison for shooting a gun in the air to keep her abusive attacker away from him. Didn't kill him. He actually fired a warning shot. That warning shot got him 25 years, even though if you want to say stand your ground, that's exactly what she did. But she got 25 years, and the guy, who abused her just basically got, nothing happened to him. So this is why it's so inconsistent. This is why a lot of people say that that a lot of stuff they're doing is so one-sided, so second class, and it sponsored these situations. Did not help that a lot of people voice the opinion as calling Trayvon Martin a thug, but that some people will believe what they want to believe, and no matter what evidence is found before him, that's they're gonna just take it as to what it is. Um, the lack, it says here in one of the articles I'm reading to here, it's one of the paragraphs, it says the lack of arrest led thousands to march and rally in Florida and across the nation and demand justice for Martin, as prosecutors complained that African Americans are seen as class citizens in the eyes of the police and the U.S. justice system. The fatal encounter between George Martin and Zimmerman also threw in spotlight of gun control and Florida's much criticized 10-year ground law statute, also known as Shoot First, as I just explained, which is signed into law by former Governor Jeff Bush in 2005. The law was backed by the National Rifle Association and was the first of its kind in the United States. Similar laws have been passed since in at least 23 states, according to the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence. And this is a and this will remain a very heated subject because it's something that's not going to go away. Even once this trial is done, there's still going to be a lot of talk about this, about these laws and other laws that pretty much caters to gun owners as well as gun violence. So this is something that is going to be in the spotlight for years to come, and it does raise the question of exactly what does stand your ground actually means to the individual, and what does stand your ground laws actually says on paper. There was also a memorial marking the 1-year anniversary of Trayvon Martin's death. He would have been 18. As this article has explained, before the trial, before the hearing was set in order. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this. One thing I wasn't surprised it took this long. I mentioned this in the previous video, that I thought it was going to be a year. It has been a year, and now after all the process, all the red tape, if you like to call it, or the postponements, we now have a set date for June 10th, and you better believe a lot of people across the country will be watching this. I will leave a link below. You guys can comment on it. But as far as I'm concerned, I will be keeping an eye on it. I will be giving my own feeling of what's being said, what's not being said, what strategies that the attorney's going to use, what strategy the prosecutor's going to use, because the prosecutor cannot afford to mess this case up, in my opinion. And even George Zimmerman lawyers can't afford to mess it up, because any kind of hint of guilt will definitely show through testimony, and even if Zimmerman decided to testify on his own behalf. So all that stuff is going to come into play. Moving right along, I will be talking about Elizabeth Warren. This was... I have seen the video as well as read the article, and I gotta tell you, what Elizabeth Warren did and what those regulators have done or respond to her question, which was very simple and direct. I can tell you that this is a far difference between how a lot of our prosecutors treat regular individuals who will probably get put in behind the bars, and never be seen again, versus those who have a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of pull, and they get away with stuff, even at the expense of our economy and the expense of the backs of middle and poor class. Elizabeth Warren, to me, did a fantastic job, and the fact that the FDIC, the SEC, OCC, OFPB, CFTC, the Feds, and Treasury had no real answer to give them tells me a lot about just how serious they are in regulating the banks as well as other major corporations. Elizabeth Warren have pretty much asked one question. It was a very simple question. She asked, when was the last time you look at took Wall Street banks to trial? And you would think that they will have the answer right there for her. But no, they didn't have the answer because they can't give her one. They were honest about one thing. They said, and one of the persons, Thomas Carey, said, we do not have to bring people to trial. Thomas Carey, head of the Office of Control of the Currency, assured Warren, declared that his agency has secured large numbers of recent orders or settlements. That wasn't the question she asked. She went back and asked again. I appreciate that you say you don't have to bring them to trial. My question is, when did you bring them to trial? Very simple question. She's sticking with the same question. Again, they did not seem to have an answer to that because they keep going around it. And around it meaning they put their own spin on it, saying that and this is the comment from Kerry, again, we have not had to do it as a practical matter to achieve our superior goals. Again, not answering the question. And again, Warren have said in response, I appreciate that you that what everybody does. So said Warren, a former Harvard law professor. Can you identify the last time when you took Wall Street banks to trial? This is where you know they had no answer. This is where you know that they never, ever even attempt to take these guys to trial. And this is what Walter has said, that caused the audience to have a not so nice response to his answer. I will have to get back to you with specific information. Now, you would think a big agency like this will already have the information right there with them, but they don't, because one, they didn't never bring any major banks to trial. They never even made an example of one of these major big hotshots on trial. They have no problem doing it with the little guys. They have no problem doing it with the middle class. They have no problem doing it with someone who they feel is causing too much ruckus and want to use them as an example. A perfect story what happened to that poor entrepreneur a few months ago, when he committed suicide after being hounded by the government that was going to offer him double digits sentence for something that wasn't even major, something that was even settled by the college. And the college didn't even want them to pursue it, but they kept doing it. But when it comes to Wall Street, it's a whole different story. And Warren had made that very, very clear in this hearing. It was very, very clear in this hearing. This was a very, very telling tale. It really was. And she made it clear that she was not happy with the responses she was getting, especially one that they didn't even answer the first one. and that was something that is very, very telling. And as an American person who loved this country, it's very disgusting for reasons as followed. These A lot of these Wall Street big shots, as well as a lot of banks, a lot of corporations, make decisions, terrible decisions, that affect the economy in a very horrible way. Do they ever get paid? Do they ever have to answer for their terrible business practices? No. The middle class do. The working class do. The poor does. When the economy sinks, guess who they come to first? They come to us saying we need to make sacrifices. We need to make all these cuts. We need to scale back. All because some big shot got too greedy with our money, mind you, and because of that, the economy is now down the gutter. It's a very, very telltale about how these administrators look at these companies. And this last sentence I'll read before going to the next topic says it all. There are district attorneys in the United States and United States attorneys out there every day squeezing ordinary citizens on sometimes very thin ground and taking them to trial in order to make an example. As they put it, I am really concerned that too big to fail has become too big for trial, Warren said. And who to say that she's wrong? But you don't take these people to trial, when you don't make an arrest or conviction on these hot shots, what makes you think they won't do it again? Hell, I got off flat clean. I can do it again, and now all I have to do is settle, and that's be it. But if it's you and me who doesn't have that financial resource, they want to put us in the ringer, throw us behind the bars, never to be seen again. How's that equal justice? It's not. I will leave a link below. You guys can comment yourself. I'd like to know what you're feeling on this matter. But it is a very tall tale, and I'm actually happy to have looked at the video as well as read the article based on what was being said at that hearing. It says a lot. It really does. Moving right along, I got this story to talk about. This story I didn't report because of the reasons why this article has said. And in case you guys don't know, there was a big article that was spreading all over the web about a 9-year-old who gave birth to a baby, and it was reported that the 17-year-old boyfriend was on the run because he was the one that impregnated him. This story has sparked a lot of anger, but also a lot of doubt. A lot of people was very mixed on the story, and with good reasons, because a lot of people was not buying that this was a 9-year-old have gave birth to a healthy baby. This also was pretty much further concerned because when it was reported, the police had doubted the story themselves. And I decided rather to talk about it, to give it a few days or even a week, and then talk about it, because I have a funny feeling that there's going to be something more to this tale, and it's going to come out eventually, and it has came out eventually. According to Huffington Post, authorities in the Mexican state of Jalisco says tests have revealed that the girl who gave birth 2 weeks ago is between the age of 12 and 13 years old, and not 9 as the parents claim. And before I go any further, it's still sad to hear this story. It's still a horrible story that this girl have gave birth at that age, especially when you look at the fact that it was from a 17-year-old. But this is where things get even more crazy. The prosecutors said that the girl was impregnated not by the boyfriend, not by the 17-year-old. She was impregnated by her stepfather. Now that brings up a whole new different story altogether. That's a whole new thing right there. Attorney announced last week that the 9-year-old has given birth to a baby girl and that they are looking for the boyfriend. Now, but prosecutors said that Wednesday the DNA test revealed the baby father is the girl's 44-year-old stepfather, and that he is under arrest. So he is in custody. They said that the study of girls showed that his word is a big scientific word. But there was a study that revealed the girl was shown was revealed that the girl was between 12 and 13. The parents didn't have a birth certificate for her and initially told the authorities she was 9 years old. Now, I will leave a link below so you guys can take a look at this article. There's a lot of questions that needs to be asked. That they did this on purpose, that they knew who the father really was, and if so, will both the mother as well as the baby girl will be put in protective custody. Mind you, I do not know Mexico rules. I do not know how they run. I do know they have no tolerance for cases like this, but I don't know how, in terms of this situation, how they will deal with making sure the girl is safe, making sure that she's in a safe environment, as well as our newborn child. Mind you, she is 12 and 13. That may play a factor as well. They do take age into account, but most importantly, they take the condition of the housing condition, the environment, as well as whether or not they feel that the parents was pulling their legs. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming into this. Like again, I was actually happy I hold back on this because now there's more stuff coming out and probably will come out, whether it's reported in the U.S. or not, in the near future. But one thing is definitely certain: when this story broke out, a lot of people had made some comments on it. A lot of people were angry. A lot of people was saying they got to find this guy. Now he may not even exist, and that's the whole thing that it really concerned me about this. And I don't even know they're still looking for him. They may just drop the whole ordeal because the person they actually did the crime is in fact in custody. The stepfather, 44-year-old, has been arrested. He's in custody. But will that mean they're gonna go after the 17-year-old boyfriend? I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I don't know what the limitation with the age consent of consent is, but I do know one thing: they ain't playing with a 44-year-old and a 12-year-old, or 13-year-old. They're definitely they've definitely got him, and they're gonna I'm pretty much sure they're gonna be more concerned of prosecuting him. But this is something I will be keeping in tabs about it. I will, if there's anything new, I definitely will talk about it. But this is something that really was wild. Something that people was very, very angry and very, very doubtful this story exists. I actually should do some research and say, could this possibly happen myself? Turns out there were other stories similar to this that confirmed that the girl was indeed 9 years old, 10 years old, and they had to do special procedures so that way the dangers would be kept at a minimum. But there will all be points like this. But when this thing came out, people really was not. I don't doubt that actually happened. But turns out it did. And at least one thing I will say: the mother's okay, from what I understand. So if the baby and the person who committed this crime is in fact in custody. I will leave a link. You guys can talk about it. And I'm going to move right along. One more story to talk about before I end, and this was a story that's in my dumb files list. Dumb criminals. I might as well just read the top of it. It says Kimberly Morgitskin, French kiss jailed son, William Partridge, to give him drugs. This is a claim from the New York cops. Yeah, this article is kind of funny. Not because of what was going on, but because of the way they started out. It says the mother loves no bounds, but Kimberly Markerson love for a son may have shown no boundaries. You think? The New York State Police said 54-year-old had passed two oxycodone. I believe that's what they call it. It's a kind of drug, pills to her 30-year-old son uh, by French kissing him during a jailhouse visit. She is now charged with third-degree criminal sale of controlled substance. She pleaded not guilty Tuesday in Middlesex Town's court. Uh, Her son, who has been jailed since June 26th on an unrelated felony weapons possession charge, is scheduled to be arraigned in a misdemeanor in Penn Valley Court on February 11th, which has already been passed, according to the pressconnect.com. And the question is, why am I reporting this now? Because it's one of those stories that when I read it, I just couldn't believe it, even though nothing surprised me when it comes to contraband. But this one is like, did you not think for 1 minute that the police is going to look at this and say, what the hell are they doing? I know the visiting table is staring at you. I mean, they do monitor the visiting rooms. They do. Um, they have to. I mean, that's their job. So seeing something like that, knowing that's not even the person's girlfriend, but the mother, yeah, they're gonna ask questions. They're gonna really start asking questions, and I know they was asking a lot. So it's one of those stories that I just, every now and then I have to talk about it, no matter how old it is. But man, I just don't know what to say. Yates County, according to the press, I think he's in Yates County Jail. Again, this is the very medicine that I don't know why doctors give these medicines so fancy names, but it's I believe it's oxycodone pills, OXYCODONE. So that's what it's called. Not good with big words. I'm sorry, but that's the pill that he was given to. Um, doesn't say if he actually asked her mother to bring it for him, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that she obviously knew that that was something he wanted. Try to give it to her through mouth to mouth, and now she's in trouble. Now she's in jail. Good job, son. Good job. Now you got your mother in trouble. And this way I thought I'd seen it all. Something else always come up that just even shakes my head. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. That's all the news I got today. I do apologize if I don't sound too lively. I just got over a bad headache. Really, really bad headache. I'm just recovering it. The weather has really been messing me up lately. Going back and forth, my head started to take its toll with that. So I had to take a little break, and finally I'm better, but not by much. So pretty much as always, I'll leave links below. You guys can comment on it. I'd like to hear your opinion on these stories. Some of them are old, I guess I understand, but these are stories that I have been following. Hasn't really been much going on, especially in New York. New York been dealing with another story, which I will be talking about in my other channel. It's pretty much sports related, but it definitely got people talking, so I will definitely talk about that later. But in any case, the stories I do have, these are important. I actually think they are good, exception of the last one. I just think it's kind of weird and stupid, especially the way they did it. And as always, I'd like to hear your comments on these stories, including the one that is weird and stupid. Feel free to say what you got to say. I'd like to hear your opinion. Share your own knowledge on the matter. Until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.